Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. As always, my name is James. Thank y'all for tuning in. I really do appreciate it. While you're here, while you're at it, hit that like, hit the subscribe so you don't miss out on future videos. Guys, we have a lot coming at you, especially I'm months behind on videos. We do have a lot coming at you as far as gear, camping trips, fishing trips, coming up hunting videos, challenges. We have just a plethora of things going on right now. It's really kind of hard to keep up, I'm not gonna lie. I almost need a secretary. But regardless, guys, neither here nor there. Today we're going to talk gear, and what I mean by gear, I think it's something that potentially, I know that I use the heck out of it, whether I'm home, whether I'm in the backcountry, whether I'm at the beach, it doesn't matter. I think it's a very useful tool. I think you guys can benefit from it as well. So stand tight. We'll be right back. We got a lot to talk about. Alright, today's video, we're talking about wet feet. Guys, I guess it goes back to when I was a kid. I grew up in the country. I was raised by my grandparents, and when it would get a lot of rain, and it just, like in Wharton, Texas, it was very, I would say, swampy, and it was always raining. I remember one time it rained for 7 days straight. It kind of sucked. It is what it is, but we dealt with it. It was a problem, and so we had the pasture. We had cows in the pasture. And I know when we get a bunch of water, we would go out there with pickaxes and shovels, and we would dig trenches to kind of help drain the water off the property. So it's not so much standing water, so your cows aren't just standing in muddy water all day long. It's not good for them. But regardless, in doing so, grandparents always bought us mud boots to wear when we were out there, and it never failed. The more you used them, it would always somehow develop a little pinhole in there, and before you know it, you have dirty, wet socks and feet. And it developed to me to be this thing I just can't stand, and it is what it is, guys. I just don't like it. I don't like it at all, but you don't have a choice. You gotta get the work done. But regardless, what I have found is throughout the years, when I would wash my boots, I used to be able to wash my shoes in the washer, then throw them in the dryer, and it was not a problem. But for some reason, the last decade or so, the boots or my shoes tend to hit the door of the dryer, opens up the dryer, and the clothes never get dry. So what I started doing is I would take fans like this. I would prop the boot up, something like this right here, and then have them sit up like this overnight, and usually by the morning the inside of the boots were dry. But it was a little bit of a pain in the butt, simply because it takes up a lot of space, but it is what it is. You gotta get your boots dry. You gotta do what you gotta do. Then I came across a product, I think it was last year. I've had these for quite a while. I've been actually testing them out. Now, a couple years ago when we were in Colorado, the snow was deep, and it amazes me. I'm very new to the backcountry, and you would have like just a creek, whatever, and it would be about 2 to 4 feet wide, but on top of that you'd have a thin layer of ice, then you'd have a bunch of snow, and as you step down, your feet go down into it, and if your feet go down too low, the water comes over the top, and before you know it, even though your boots are waterproof, or water resistant I should say, you have water in your boots, and it's not good, especially when the temperature is -9 on the mountain. Is what it is, guys. Cold feet, wet cold feet is just not, it's horrible. I'm telling you, I don't like cold feet, and when they're wet, it's even worse. I just have this thing, I guess it goes back to my childhood. I don't like wet feet and socks. Don't like it. So I had to find a way to dry out my boots in the backcountry, and since I bought this product, I haven't got my boots wet in the backcountry since. But I do wash my shoes. I wash my boots here at the house, and then so I don't have to set up a fan. I have these babies right here, and I can get my boots, my shoes dry in really no time. It's really easy to set up. It's really easy just to basically put it up and forget it. I won't forget it too long, which we'll get into that here in a minute. Well, let's talk about the product. This right here, when I go to backcountry, I do have everything in bags so I can keep everything organized. This is an Everly stock little bag here that I carry some gear in. This gear specifically is the Grakksaw boot dryers. And basically what you have little battery powered fans that circulate air. You have the intake, the outtake, and ultimately what you do is is you have a battery pack with you, and I usually carry battery packs because I keep my my Garmin InReach charged up. I keep my phone charged up. If I have to charge up GoPro batteries, I have little battery packs. And what you do is it comes with, basically it comes with this piece right here. It has a little USB-C plug, and it has a double female plug here. You plug this in piece right here, and I have these little USB-C cables here, and I basically plug this one into here, and then I plug this piece right here into my little extra battery packs, and then it powers on the fans. If you're hot, I guess you can sit here and hold them and give yourself a breeze. I don't do that, but regardless, I actually use them to dry my shoes or my boots. But let's talk about that real quick. Ultimately, what you do is you don't have to have a fan anymore. You just have these babies right here, and you set them up on the top of your boot like this. You plug them into your battery source, and then all of a sudden they just circulate air, intake, outtake, and ultimately it takes a little bit, but ultimately get some air circulate in there so that you can dry your boots out, your shoes, whatever it may be. I use them at home when I wash my boots or I wash my shoes. I use these things here to dry them out so that they're good to go when I need them, because I can't stand when you think they're dry and you put them on, you start walking around, and all of a sudden you feel your socks just getting wet. You're like, man, they didn't dry. It is what it is. But for some reason, when I throw them in the dryer, they hit up against the door of the dryer. Dryer door opens and they never get dry. So I needed something to help dry them out, and this right here is what I have found online that is very, very useful. I actually saw where Gritty, Brian Call, Ryan Lampers use them as well, and that's where I got the idea from. I ordered them. I've been testing them out for about a year, and I can tell you they are very, very useful. Now, depending on your boots, I have some boots that are kind of loose up top, and when I put this in here, the fan falls down into them. What I would say is just snug up the shoelaces a little bit up top to kind of narrow your entry point, and then your little Grakksaw boot dryers will just sit on top and circulate the air. So it's just a really easy fix. If you find that you're like, man, it just keeps falling in, just tighten up the straps a little bit. It'll work, I promise you. And when I said you don't want to just turn them on and forget them. These things will run consistently until your battery runs out. So if you're going to leave them in the house, I would say go check on them after a couple hours and make sure they're dry, and then you should be good to go. But regardless, you can't just let it run, because they will drain the battery eventually. It takes a little while. I want to say, I'm pretty positive. I didn't document it, but I'm pretty positive. I put them on to dry, came back the next morning. I want to say I used like 28. It went from 100 down to, I think, I want to say 72-ish, 71. It was in the 70s for sure, and I want to say I did it overnight. I don't necessarily say do it that long. I mean, in the backcountry, I wake up every couple hours anyways. Every couple hours, I check on them. If they're dry, turn them off. You don't need it to run that long. Simply because if you're trying to preserve battery life on your backups, because depending on your solar power, depending on what you have to charge the stuff back up, you want to save energy as much as possible. Now, you do have, if you're like me, and you do have a wood-burning stove, wood-burning stoves work great to dry the outside of your boot, but they don't work as great to dry the inside of your boot. I found that you really need air circulating inside your boot to get them dry. But if you don't have the boot dryers, a wood-burning stove would be helpful, but it's not as good. I can promise you that. You need air circulating in your shoes to get them to really fully dry. Now, if you don't really care if they're fully dry, that's up to you. I'm just telling you, it is a really good tool, really good thing that I like to use whether I'm at home, the backcountry, the beach, wherever I'm at, and our shoes get wet and I need to get them dry. That's where I use them. I usually take those pretty much everywhere I go, especially when I'm camping, just because you just never really know. But regardless, I find it's a good tool. I hope you guys did too. If you don't know about them, just go to Grakksaw. Just Google Grakksaw. You go to the website. It's their boot dryers, and man, I found them really helpful. But guys, I don't get paid to say this. I think it's just a good product that I think that you guys will find useful as well. But regardless, guys, I do love y'all. Sorry for the quick video, but I've just been crazy busy. But regardless, guys, I do love y'all. I'll see y'all next week.
see y'all later.